Hi everyone. It's been quite a while that I haven't recorded any videos regarding PTE test, and this is the first video I'm using with the new microphone, which I just purchased, and it arrived yesterday. And now let's begin with this new microphone. I'm not sure whether it is clear enough or not. I just put it close to my mouth. Okay, so now let's start with this page, with this page 14, talking about the read aloud. It is one type of test that would be appear in the PTE exam. Okay, now let's start with the first one. So the first tip, it says that break the text up into chunks and pause slightly between each one as you read. Before the recording begins, use the punctuation to help you decide where to pause and where each new chunks begin. So for this first tip, it refers to the first paragraph, which is on the right hand side, as you can see here. Okay, so now let's apply that tips with this first paragraph. Market research is a vital part of planning of any business. However experienced you and your staff may be in a particular field. If you are thinking of introducing a service to a new area, it is important to find out where the local population think about it first. So for the first tip, it's not considered to be hard because once we see that there's a comma or any punctuation, we just pause a little bit so we can show the listener that we have said one particular important information or one sentence of what we were going to say. And that is the first tip. We cannot just say it directly like one paragraph into 10 seconds without any briefing. So that would harm the listener as well as ourselves as well. So now let's try using the second tips. As you read, stress the words that carry important information. It makes it easier to understand what you are saying. So the word stress here doesn't refer to the level of stress that let's say we are working too much or studying too much. Stress here means that we pronounce the word a little bit for the intonation, it's a bit louder. So now let's start with the second paragraph. Okay, stress the word that carry important information. Not a lot is known about how transportation of goods by water first began. Large cargo boats were being used in some parts of the world up to 5,000 years ago. However, sea trade began more widespread and when large sailing boats travel between ports carrying spices, perfumes, and objects made by hand. So we just stress the word that we think it's very important, and that's the second tips. So now let's jump to the third tip. Use rising intonation patterns to show a contrast. For example, here we need to contrast the word buildings with trees, rising the intonation. Okay, now let's do it. When the young artist were asked about his drawing, he explained that he had started by taking a photograph of himself sitting by a window at home. He then drew his face from a paragraph and replaced the buildings which were outside of the window with trees. This gave a picture of softer, more artistic background. So do you think that I made a mistake for this paragraph? Well, I think so, because I did not show any rising intonation between the word buildings, which is the the object that we are going to compare with another object, which is this one, the trees. So now let's start again. Okay. When the young artist was asked about his drawing, he explained that he had started by taking a photograph of himself sitting by a window at home. He then drew his face from a paragraph and replaced the buildings which were outside of the window with trees. This gave a picture of softer, more artistic background. I think it would be better. Okay, now let's go to the tips number 4. Try to get the word stress right on multi-syllable words. In text 4, there are words that end in ion. Usually, the stress falls on syllable before this. Like, okay, so for the word pollutions. So before ion, we stress whatever the syllable before it. Combustion. Okay, combustion. Stations. So now let's do it. Humans need to use energy in order to exist. So it is unsurprising that the way people have been producing energy is likely responsible for current environmental problems. Pollution comes in many forms, but those that are most concerning because of their impact on health result from combustions of fuels in power stations and cars. So we just stress the word that the syllable before the word the word and in ion. Now let's go to tip number 5. Look for sense groups as well as grammatical structure to notice which groups of words should be said in one chunk. Let's say to provide individuals with an income once they stop working. So for the 5th tip, it just wants us to group all the sentence that should be or that's supposed to be one sentence with grammatical structure as well as sense groups. So we could not just read the whole entire group without any. Let's say this sentence. We should not read it in one chunk without taking any breath. So now let's do it so that we can see what the tip number 5 supposed us to be. Clearly, times are changing while many people are saving for their retirement. Many more still need to do so. Most countries have a range of pension schemes that are designed to provide individuals with an income once they stop working. People need to take advantage of this if they are to have sufficient money throughout their retirement years. So as you can see, clearly I read this sentence into 2 chunks. People need to take advantage of this if they are to have sufficient money throughout their retirement years. Now let's try the final tips, which is using falling intonation patterns to show that you have finished a point or come to the end of what you are saying. So in this case, on our moods, about our lives. So when it reached to the end of the sentence, we just falling our intonations. So that's basically what it wants us to do. Okay, now let's jump to the example, which is the paragraph number 6. According to a recent research, sunshine and warm weather have a positive impact on our moods. The British Journals of Psychology have published a report in which it claimed that anxiety level falls when temperatures rise. While increased exposure to sunshine makes us to think more positively about our lives. So បាទហ្នឹងគឺតកតងទៅនឹងការដែលចំពោះតេស្តនៅក្នុងតេស្ត PTE ហ្នឹងវាមាន part ហ្នឹងមួយតកតងទៅនឹងការ read aloud ហើយទាំងអស់នេះគឺជា tip ទាំង6ហ្នឹងហើយយើងគួរតែធ្វើតាមគេទៅយើងគួរណាដូចថាយើងមាន paragraph មួយចឹងមកហើយយើងទិញយកអានយកដល់មានឈប់ដកដង្ហើមមានអីអញ្ចឹងណាអាហ្នឹងគឺស្ដាប់មកដូចគ្រឿងយន្តអញ្ចឹងដូចមនុស្សយន្តអញ្ចឹងដូចយើងនិយាយខ្មែរដូចគ្នាពេលខ្លះយើងគិតថាកន្លែងណាសំខាន់អញ្ចឹងទៅយើងសកត់សំឡេងឲ្យធ្ងន់តិចទៅហើយពេលណាដែលយើងគិតថាមិនសូវទេយើងនិយាយធម្មតាសំឡេងស្មើអញ្ចឹងទៅដូច្នេះហើយការដែលយើងអានហ្នឹងគឺយើងគួរតែមាននៅតង់ពេលខ្លះត្រូវឡើងចោះពេលណាត្រូវឈប់បន្តិចទៅហើយពេលណាពាក្យណាសំខាន់យើងក៏សកត់សំឡេងបន្តិចទៅហើយយើងអានដូចថានៅក្នុង clear ហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងទៅយើងគិតថាក្នុង clear ហ្នឹងវែងប៉ុន្តែយើងប្រកាសជាយើងគិតថានៅក្នុងហ្នឹងមាននៅពាក្យកណ្ដាលយើងផ្ដាច់វាចេញពីគ្នាយើងមិនអានមករូទៅអញ្ចឹងអត់មានឈប់អត់មានអីអញ្ចឹងទេអញ្ចឹងអាហ្នឹងតកតងទៅនឹងការដែលយើងប្រឡងឥឡូវមុននឹងបញ្ចប់ខ្ញុំនឹងធ្វើការអានដោយអត់មានតង់ដូចអត់មាន tip អីតាមគេនិយាយហ្នឹងណាខ្ញុំអានប្រាវទៅយកដូចមនុស្សយន្តអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំសាក់មើលតើវាមានខុសគ្នាមិនដែរការដែលខ្ញុំ record នេះគឺមិនមែនបានន័យថាខ្ញុំបរៀនទាំងអស់គ្នាគឺការដែលខ្ញុំធ្វើហ្នឹងគឺគ្រាន់តែក្នុងគោលបំណងមួយយើងរៀនទាំងអស់គ្នាបើសិនជាថាមានកំហុសអីចឹងទៅអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាក៏អាចនឹងប្រាប់បានផងដែរ Okay អញ្ចឹង now let's start with this paragraph again if you can see the difference between what I have applied before with this let's say this time I just read it without any briefing or any intonation, rising intonation or falling intonation or word stress. So I just read it like a pirate does. When the young artist were about to ask about his drawing, he explained that he had started by taking a photograph of himself sitting by a window at home. He then drew his face from a paragraph and replaced the buildings which were outside the window with trees. This gives the picture of softer, more artistic background. That what I haven't applied any of the tips right here. I just read it directly without any briefing. Let's do it again with this paragraph. Humans need to use energy in order to exist, so it is unsurprising that way people have been producing energy is largely responsible for current environmental problems. Pollution comes in many forms, but those that are most concerning because of their impact on health result from the combustion of fuel in power stations and cars. So that basically between using all the tips and without using the tips អញ្ចឹងគឺអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាបានឃើញហើយភាពខុសគ្នាខ្លះហើយអរគុណចំពោះការតាមដានរបស់អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាចាំជួបគ្នានៅបន្តទៀតនេះគឺអ្វីដែលយើងនឹងអាចជួបប្រទះនៅក្នុងការប្រឡងនៅតេស្ត PTE វាគឺជាផ្នែកមួយដែរគឺតាក់ទងទៅនឹង read aloud